Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great today. Um, this is going to be my last of my spirituality talks. The last one I want to talk about is spirituality and magic, which I know is going to be quite interesting because, these last few weeks I've been trying to tell people spirituality isn't magic. Witchcraft is not a spiritual path, it is a skill. It's something that I've been trying to stress, and some people just don't want to see it, and that's fine. But today we're going to talk about spirituality and magic. Now, if we look at the definition of spirituality, it is about us connecting with something bigger. It's how we live our life in the world around us. It's our interactions. It's like a code of ethics that we'll follow. In our life, this is what we shall do, and this is what we shall not do. Okay, pretty simple, huh? So we take aspects from the mundane parts of our lives and our work with the gods, and we apply it to our magic. Doing the right thing is important. We have in paganism and other religions, they have these codes about do unto others but as you'd have undone to yourself. We got the Threefold Law, the laws of retribution, karma, whatever you want to call it. Now, as my better half would say, the Threefold Law is a rule to make people think. But don't just rush into a spell and attack somebody. Think it out. Because some people act on the smallest things. Like that one person who cut you off in traffic. Man, that was bad things. But do we know why? No, we don't. See, that person could have been the nicest person every other day of the year, but that was a bad day for him. Maybe he had to get to the hospital for some reason. And, and like me, if my daughter, my son were to be hurt and they're in the hospital, I'm moving. I'm going as fast as my truck can take me. I will get to that hospital and nothing will stop me. Well, maybe that's what that person went through. And yeah, maybe they weren't thinking clearly and cut you off, but they were trying to do the right thing by taking care of somebody that they loved. Okay? Doing the right thing also talks about what is morally and ethically correct with magic. One of the bad things I see in a lot of the store-bought spell books is most of them seem to devote half the book to love spells. So you can have this person fall in love with you. Not all spells of the love spells, but there's a good part of these love spells that actually go up against a person's will. So if you want this specific person to fall in love with you, there are spells that you can cast to try to get that to happen. And that's morally wrong because people have free will and we're not supposed to go after somebody's free will. We want somebody to love us for who we are, not because we cast a spell and forced them into it. So, morality is an important aspect of spell work. And so before you do a spell, you got to ask yourself, do you want somebody to do the same thing to you? And the answer is usually no. One of my complaints that I see a lot about in magic use, there's a lot of people that want to do bindings. They want to be the morality police, something that people accuse me of. And so what they're going to do is they're going to bind themselves to somebody. Now, binding would work, yes, but you got to ask yourself, is binding kind of going up against their free will? Yes, it is. And do you want to spend the rest of your life having this connection to this person that you would consider to be dark, evil, a bad person? Well, no, nobody should. So binding is not the first rule, should not be the first action in interacting with somebody that you disagree with. Okay? So doing the right thing is kind of like stop and think for a moment. Now, thinking is important in magic. How we specify what we want, what our intent is, has to be very, very clear. My friend Freak Phil, who I'm going to reference a couple of his videos here. I watched one of his videos in which he was talking about a lot of witches were getting together to stop the Desert Storm War. And they wanted it to be a quick war. That's the only thing that they can agree on. And we're talking this large group of witches. Everything else they couldn't agree upon. How, why, and all that. This was all gray areas. And so their intent was not specific enough. They just had to end war quickly. And if you look at the first Desert Storm War, it did, and quickly. But everything else was long, drawn out, and costly. So we have to educate and plan ahead and make sure that our intent with our spirituality and magic is very well defined. Another situation we have is too many of the younger pagans out there like to do whatevers. They want to cast a spell. They don't have everything that they need. Whatever. And they'll do a substitution. And sometimes their substitutions are not well thought out. So, there's a reason why things are set up the way they are. There are many forms of magic. Oh, excuse me. We got our high magic, ceremonial magic, ritual magic. We got individual magic. Gypsy magic. There's lots of different forms of magic. And a lot of them are connected. And so when we study the bigger picture, we can see that there were reasons why they had certain things the way they did. So we can't just whatever everything, because maybe they knew something that we don't, and that whatever you did just nullified all the rest of the work you did. Okay? So we have to be educated and see the full picture of the spell and how spell dynamics work when we work with magic. And this goes into spirituality because this also reflects in our regular life. Do you want to be viewed as an intelligent, educated, trustworthy person? Or do you want to be viewed as somebody that is hit and miss, kind of sketchy, whatever? I want to be viewed as an educated, trustworthy person. Now, a lot of people don't agree with my outlook on things, but everybody knows where I stand, and that is an important aspect. I said in a previous video how important it is to work with nature, to connect with nature. Well, that same spirituality goes into magic work as well. We have to go with the flow of nature. Remember, we are pagans. We believe in earth-based beliefs. And magic is working with natural forces to change and affect the world around us. And so we can't just ignore nature. I find it very counterproductive for all those ladies out there that want to say, oh, we can cast a spell whenever we want. It doesn't matter what phase of the moon is at. Well, it does matter. It really does, because if you are going against the rhythm of the moon, you are not really honoring nature. You're not going with the flow of nature. And so we would have to question, well, how much of a studied pagan are you? Did you become a pagan slash witch because you wanted to be able to cast magic? Because you want to be a witch? Or did you do it because you wanted to be connected with the earth? So this is a very important thing to think about. Why did you become a pagan? Why did you become a witch? Are you thinking that they're one and the same? Answer the question. As I said in the video of working and honoring the gods, here it's important. We need to make sure that we don't just treat the gods as our servants, because they're not. They are above us. So we cannot take a god and goddess and grab them when we need them. Oh, somebody pissed me off, I need carrot win. Oh no, my brother's sick, I need granos. Okay, I got a battle to fight, Andraste. No, it don't work that way. If you are going to focus on a matron, patron, god, and goddess, and then you're going to shun all the rest of the gods in a pantheon or other pantheons, you should not be calling upon them, that night and ask them to help. Your intent could be wonderful and all that, but if you're not showing the proper respects, the god and goddess might just do the screw you and give you the opposite of what you're asking for because you didn't show respect. And so we have to put that part, that's kind of a part of nature as well, our connection there, into our magic. Did we work with and build a relationship with a god and goddess? Can we work with that energy and that love to build the spell that we need? There's a question. And finally, we have to learn how to separate our magical life with our mundane life. There are a lot of people that kind of create these gray areas, and it can work, but I also believe that there has to be a degree of separation. Not everybody is Laurie Cabot, who can live the witch life, what seems to be 24/7, anywhere and everywhere. And I have respect for her because she's going to do it. She is a witch and she is showing great strength and all that. I myself could not do that. We live in various levels of community. We might have our little pagan group here, but we also belong to a community like the town and city we live in. Then there's the state that we live in, the nation we live in, the world we live in. So we cannot live in our magical world and isolate ourselves and be into this pagan community and forget about everything else. It's not going to work. We need to be part of the world around us. One of the purposes of the pagan beliefs was to make the world around us a better place. We talked about interacting with nature, picking up litter and such. Well, you got to kind of pick up the litter, dealing with the society as well. And, if you're like me, I got kids. And so I have to learn when to separate my magical life with my mundane life and take care of my kids. It's really that simple. And Freak Phil, he said this best in one of his videos. He was talking about casting a spell, and he was saying that we need to do the spell. We do it right. We grab our Book of Shadows, we write it down, we read it, and then we close the book on it. That's it. We done it. We move on. Then, in some time, we would then grab our Book of Shadows, review the spell, and see how it progressed. Okay, and I think that's an important role, but then also has to go with our spirituality and magic, because we can't just always focus on the magic. We have to live a life outside of paganism, in harmony with paganism, yes, but it still has to be outside of paganism, because not everybody's a pagan. There's work, okay? You can't walk around with your pentacles out and all that, because at some places it doesn't work. So we have to have that degree of separation. So those are my points on spirituality. It is good to be spiritual and to love the idea of being a witch, a magic user, a magician, illusionist, wizard, whatever you want to call yourself, that's wonderful. But there's time and places for everything, and we really got to learn those, okay? So this video is almost 17 minutes long, so I better call it an end. So everybody, take care, be at peace, and leave some comments below. I'm wanting to hear everything that you have to say.